Hello, and welcome to the Boss Up Ball Out podcast, your home for organic debate about Detroit Lions news and rumors. It's your man, Professor Curt. Today, we look at the retirement of Lions All-Pro center, Frank Ragnow, and how it impacts the team. We're on our way to 2,000 subscribers, and currently sit at 2849. And we now have channel memberships, so, we got to shout out the members on the channel, man. We got my man, T-Bone Locks, Sean Bird, Lauren Vander Esch, and Brent DeWitt, salute to my fellow veteran, and Miss Mary Smith. So, if you're new to our channel, first of all, let me bring in my co-host for today's show, because we're gonna get it popping up in this thing today. Let's put it back on the screen. All right. First up, man. Y'all know him, man. Y'all love him. The ladies love him, man. He got that Tupperware t-shirt exchange, and he is the curator of Thirsty Thursdays, man. It's the ladies' pet, that men's regret. You ain't seen nothing yet. LL Cool Twins. What's going on, my guy?
What's up? Happy Wednesday, y'all.
Man, and it's the hardest working man in Jackson, Michigan, man. He's down there cooking meals. He's running fades. He's cutting fades. Coaching kids, all the stuff, and on and on. Man, it's the Wolver Lion. Who?
It's Coach Mike Jones. What's going on, Lion fans?
If you're new to the show and you don't know how we get down here, we look at Detroit Lions news, headlines, and takes. If we agree, we say that our bossed up with that big blade dance. If we disagree, we say they are balled on, or we give our reasons why we agree or disagree. You see LL shaking his head. We keep 100 on this show. We give our true natural thoughts and opinions about what's going on with our favorite team, the Detroit Lions. And if you think it's some BS, LL gonna tell you with his face, man, that dude couldn't play Crazy Ace to save his mind, man, because that dude, his face gonna tell it all. Because his face be talking about it's time to brawl for it all, because it's some BS right here. But that's how we get down here, man. We look at it, we look at the news and rumors, man, and we give our true thoughts and opinions, man. We keep 100. You ain't finna get no hot takes, man. You ain't finna get no Stephen A. I gotta go check it out. They say Spinman went off on Rob Parker yesterday. Rob Parker was on the heavyweights. They say he crashed out on Rob Parker yesterday, man. I gotta go check that thing out, man. But
I should have watched.
Man, hey. But you ain't finna get no hot takes here, man. You're just gonna get our true thoughts and opinions of what's going on with our favorite team, the Detroit Lions, man. Because we're fans like you. We're content creators, but at the core, we are Detroit Lions fans. All right, so the topic of the day. All right, so I'll put myself on the screen so I can talk about this right quick. All right, so the initial reaction to Frank Ragnow's retirement, man, we as Lions fans had a couple of days to think about and take in the announcement about retirement from Frank Ragnow. I was sitting at my kitchen table taking a class for my professorship when I got a notification on X that Frank was retiring in a group chat. I was like, what the hell? I'm not gonna lie to you. I was stunned. I was like, hell no, Big Bang Frank is walking away from the game. And I've wanted to be on this show that I've always thought that he was going to keep playing. I've never said that he was getting, people say, oh, he's going to retire. I'm like, nah, man, this guy, he's like 28, 29 years old, man, he ain't going to retire. Then I read his Instagram post and I got why he decided to retire. Nobody in Lions' recent history has played through more injuries than Frank Ragnow. I mean, and he's only missed double-digit games in a season once. And that's what the year he got really hurt and he could only play like 4 games. And you think about all the losses, the majority he's endured the majority of his career in Detroit. And it sucks that his body can't hang anymore. Now that the franchise is good, the Lions are a winning franchise. Say what you will, people will say, "Oh, the Super Bowl window was closed." Yada. I don't hear that crap. The Lions are winning, and Ragnow was a big part of that turnaround. He's in his career, he's made second team All-Pro 3 times for AP All-Pro, and he's been selected for Pro Bowls. He's one of the toughest SOBs to ever wear the Honolulu blue and silver. So my initial reaction was, I get it. I'm a middle-aged man. When you married, you have kids, and then like you have the means to do so. You want to be able to play with your kids, walk around, you know what I'm saying? Be able to have a fully able body to do those things and be a parent. And so you want to be able to do those things you want to do with your game. You know, we all know that Frank's an active guy. He's out there, he's fishing. I don't know about LL talking about he's a better fisherman than him. Anyway, yeah, but I salute Frank, you know what I'm saying? I don't have any hard feelings about it. I'm not gonna say, oh, you know, he did this means this, or this is a detriment to the team, or this is like something personal between him and the Lions. And there was rumors out going out about his retirement, and I'll get to that later on. But my initial reactions is salute to Frank Ragnow. Thank you for your service here in Detroit, man. I think he's one of those guys. It may take him a while, but you know, he might be one of those guys that may be in the line for a gold jacket down the line. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, salute to him and his family, and good luck to Frank, and you know, on to the next chapter. But I know Coach wants to talk about some other things about this situation, but that's just my initial reaction. I understand why he did what he did, and salute to him. All right, so what you got? I'm Gucci Bone Free, Coach.
Yeah. So I'm gonna just give you my first reaction. When I was at work, right? 'Cause I'm at work now. You gotta paint the scene. You know what I'm saying? I gotta paint the picture. What the hell's going on? So I'm at work. Actually, I went on a break. My first morning break. First little, you know, I kind of sit down, have my last little cup of coffee, man, and kind of relax. So I check my Lions feed, check my X, check my Instagram, man, and I look, and I see Curt, like, Frank retired, or Frank Ragnow retired. I'm like, what the hell? Now I know Curt not going to just be. I know Curt does his research, right? So I'm like, what in the hell? No, this ain't true. So I go to my Lions, because I subscribe to all Lions stuff. I go to the Lions page, everybody talking about Frank Ragnow retired, and I'm like, no, this fool didn't. And that's just my initial reaction, was like, what the hell, man? We're trying to get to the Super Bowl, man. Like, you know, so, but that lasted for probably the first day. After that, I'm a coach, right? So after that first initial reaction, and you know, actually probably later on at night, now I'm like, okay, what are we gonna do? You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not gonna get too much into, you know, because that's probably later on what we're gonna talk about, man. But that's just my initial reaction, man. I'm like, what the hell, Frank? Like, we're trying to win a Super Bowl right now, man. Like, what's going on? Like, and you know, first I was thinking, you know, man, the contract talks must be really that bad. He must be like, feel like I'm not getting enough money to keep putting my body through this. Like, that's my first, you know, initial, you know, thoughts, because all the feeds and all the headlines and the rumors were he wasn't happy with his contract. So, you know, I mean, that's all you can go off of is what you're hearing and reading. And I think it was Dave Burkett that said that he wasn't happy with his contract. You know what I'm saying? So when you get sources like that who say stuff like that, then you're like, you know, okay, this. But then after, you know, when you see the speech and everything, you're like, dang, man, like, I feel you. Like, man, it's probably because he did the exact same thing that Andrew Luck did. Like, the Colts and the Lions were in the same identical position.
No,
like, the Colts were the favorites to get to the Super Bowl out of the AFC that year.
No, they weren't.
Well, they were top two now. They were top two favorites to get to the AFC.
No, they weren't.
Hello, hush up, boy.
They was like, dude, y'all. I know that y'all memories might be a little, like, but like, they were a top two team to get to the AFC Championship. Yeah, it was. If you gotta just go back in that year, yeah, they was. So I know like how that fan base felt, because this at the same time they was like, look, like, come on, bro, you know what I'm saying? So, but you know what? After you digest what it is, man, you can't do nothing but respect the dude, man. What he put himself through and the things he played through, like, would none of us be able to play through a broken throat? I don't give a damn what you say. Like, we're not doing it.
Mm-hmm.
So, salute to Frank, man.
Yeah. All right, LL, get your initial reactions, and then we'll put everybody else on the screen and talk about some more stuff. Stop trolling people, man. All right, what you got?
I had to, because Coach Mike was saying a bunch of stuff, and that was the one that I was like, all right, man. The coach wasn't in the same. I don't care to have that discussion, but no, they wasn't. But long story short, I probably had the same reaction as everybody else. I thought it was a lie, and I wanted to look at my phone. I went back to the text messages to see. Because one of my homies had sent, in the group chat, he had sent the meme of Matthew Stafford, where they say a bunch of stuff. They break down to like, now the Lions need a quarterback like Matthew Stafford. And then his next text was, also Frank Ragnow retired. And my text message was, you fucking lying. So I said, no, he fucking didn't. I didn't believe it. And of course, I do the first thing I always do. I hop right on Twitter, because Twitter is where I get the news, the good news from. Well, the creditable news, not good news, but creditable news from. And yeah, it was real. I never once thought like, oh, he mad at the Lions or anything like that. And for joke's sake here, I blame myself. I wanted to yesterday. I'm just a lazy person. I was going to go back to find the exact show that I said it. Because remember, I gave a couple of draft prospects with the idea that, Frank time might not be that long. And on one of them shows, I said, we might need somebody this year. And that's when y'all, I both kind of jumped in, don't do that and blah, blah, and this and that.
You're right. You're right.
I did like this. And, I apologize. And I think I said like something about Mr. Frank, don't blah, blah, blah. And so not to say that I wanted this to happen, but we've been saying this for how many years, man? Like he had a program.
At least the last two.
Everything, yeah, exactly. So at least the last two. And last year, we talk about creditable Dave Burkett. There's a lot of stuff that came out about that, because a lot of people don't like that he said that. But last year, for sure, that's one thing that we know that he was contemplating it, right? And maybe that was the year that it was the swing year, because that's everybody saying, no, I would reach out. I would try and get him to come back. I would do this. I would do that. I think that was last year. I think this year he was like, yo, I can't do it no more. And that's I think, because in his post, that's what he said, like, can't do it no more. And that's not, I don't read minds, or I don't think I can, what's the word? I'm not a forensic, I don't know the right word, investigator. I can't tell what he means by these sentences. But I've heard people saying that, that's how you can kind of tell that it probably wasn't about the contract, because he says the Lions have been great throughout this entire process or something like that. So I don't necessarily believe it was any animosity or a situation with the franchise as far as the contract, because sometimes, like, if you hurt, man, that money ain't gonna make you feel no better. It's just gonna make you have more money. So, and like y'all, I'm not of that, but y'all too, have been blessed to, experience being fathers and things like that. So I believe y'all will understand it a lot more, just as far as, hey, I gotta give my good years to my family. So, or my better rest of years, I guess, would be the good way to say that, to my family. So, my initial reaction again was, I thought it was a lie, and I said, God damn. I understood for a long time, and then like on the end, I got mad, and I just kept saying, why the fuck did Frank do this to me? Like, why would he do this to me?
Why? Like, what did he do to you?
We right there. We right. And I'm saying that as a joke, of course.
Yeah.
But why would he do this to me? Like, we right there, dog. We right there. We right there. Why would you do this to me? Now Jared Goff is going to ruin it all. And he ain't got nobody like you to help him out, man. But Thank you is the message that I want to say. But
we'll get to that in a little bit. But hey, it was just a shock, man. And salute to him, man. Like I'm a dad, man, and like to just, and I know what it feels like to wake up one day and say I'm done, because like I spent 26 years in the Army, and and I had that moment where I woke up and say, yeah, it's a wrap. And because you put your body through so much, and I think the two kids now, and then like having that torn, partially torn pec, like I mean that dude with the toe and the pec and the throat. Oh man, it's just a laundry list of injuries that he's been through, man. And the guy's only 29. And he wants to be able to have a fruitful life for the rest of his time here on Earth, man. He's made a decent amount of money, and I don't think it was about the money. And there's rumors around that, well, he retired because there's no more guarantee, but he didn't say that. He said in his statement that the Lions were terrific about the situation. So and we'll talk about this in the next segment about how the Lions were kind of strategically ready to make a move. You know what I'm saying? But we'll get into the next section. But hey, man,
listen, for one thing I want to say real quick is, I'm on the opposite end of the spectrum, because I feel like I got to fight right now.
Okay.
Like I'm like I got, cause my daughter and my stepdaughter just graduated high school. I'm like, I gotta get back in the ring ASAP. I gotta get back in the training camp. I gotta put this work in. I got to do it, man. Just because I haven't been on that level. You know what I'm saying? I haven't been on the level that Frank has been on to, you know what I'm saying? Like he's been to the top. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, I can still do it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so I'm like, man, let me go on that. Let me see if I can, let me see if I can get back in shape real quick and get a fight in real quick before the season starts. Cause I'm not going down like that, bro.
The difference is when you go to the ATM machine and when you go to the ATM machine, they say totally different things.
Yeah.
When you look at that map, I don't think Frank, you have to go to the ATM machine.
Probably not. He got a black card.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But hey, man, like the video, share the video, and comment on the video. All these things help us get this content to more Detroit Lions fans just like yourself, baby. Y'all know that Boss Up Ball Out merch shop is now available. You can find a link in the description of this video or on the channel homepage, man. Put in the code Boss Up Ball Out 10 at checkout. When you spend $45, you get 10% off of one item. And for channel members, you get 15% off your total order. Check the community chat for the code or the link for the discount coupon, man. That's one of the benefits of being a channel member. You get that big discount over at our merch shop, man. It's another way to help support us on this channel. All right, so the next thing, man, is who takes the place of Frank Ragnow at center for 2025, and what's the outlook for the season? I want to hear this because I'm gonna let Coach Jones go first, man, because I know this is
where I might.
He about to get on his soapbox.
This is where I might cut up just a little bit, because first of all, I want to address just whoever in the hell is like, oh yeah, we just gonna do this and we're just gonna they don't worry about, are you fucking crazy? Like, Frank Ragnow is a top 2, maybe the best center in the NFL, and probably the best center since Jason Kelsey. You know what I'm saying? Well, he just retired, but I'm saying they were the top 2 guys. Like, you don't just replace that. That's the dude who calls out your protections, your slides on the O-line, who identifies the blitzers, identifies the front if it's odd or even. Y'all are tripping, man. Y'all like, oh yeah, well, we can just slide him in there. No, we can't. Are you willing to put your faith on Graham Glasgow being your center? I don't think so. Not the way that most Lions Nation was trying to scoop Glasgow out of the guard spot and trying to push in Christian Mahogany and Tate Ratledge. You know what I'm saying? So stop acting like that, because that's not for real. You're y'all bullshitting. Like, we don't have the only true center we have on the roster right now is, I can't even pronounce his name, but it's Kingsley Ekukan or something like that.
Uh-huh.
That's the only true center on the team. The rest of them are O-linemen. We need a true center. Now I know some people are probably like, oh yeah, the Lions knew this was gonna happen, and they already playing. No, they didn't, man, because if they thought this would happen, they would have got a damn center. Like, they wouldn't have got nobody who, oh, he's a guard, but he can play center. You don't do that when you're on a Super Bowl run. When you're on a Super Bowl run, you get a center who maybe you can cross train him to play guard. But you get a center, not a guard who you can like, oh man, can you take some snaps and see how you do like under center? And hey, actually, can you call out the blitzes too? And let's see how you do with them. But nah, man, come on, like y'all BSing. Like, this threw the Lions off. And they don't have a true center on the team because Ekuban or Ekukan, whatever his name is, ain't even gonna make the 53-man roster. You know what I'm saying? He might now. You know what I'm saying? Like, who knows? But I'm just saying he's gonna be a practice squad player. So when people like, like, oh yeah, they just people who be reading. That's all they do. Is just read. They read and they be like, oh yeah, the Lions is already planning on this because they had drafted Miles Frazier and Ratledge. They don't play center, bruh. They don't.
And they
so stop acting like they do. Like, they might like be trying to take snaps, but they don't play center. And Graham Glasgow is not a true center. He's not a true anything. He's like a shell of himself. And maybe he might rejuvenate. Maybe he'll put some money into his body and things like that to get himself working and himself moving again. Because you can do that. You can rejuvenate. We've all seen like LeBron James. He's still playing. You know what I'm saying? So you can get stuff to regenerate your body and get yourself going. But man, stop with the BS of what's going on, man. And we were ready for it. No, we weren't. We still think we had a year. I thought we still had a year. The front office probably thought they had a year. They probably was like, okay, we'll have Ratledge come in and then we'll just cross-train him and we'll get him ready. You know what I'm saying? They didn't think like, oh, now, well, all right now. Here, let me throw you a ball. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, it wasn't like that, man. So we probably are going to have to go in free agency. Like, or we're going to have to make a trade. Like, we probably, like, more than likely, we're going to have to make a trade with the team who has a decent center. We probably going to have to overpay because, I mean, that replacing Frank Ragnow is something that's serious. That's not something like, oh, we could probably get away with the 6th-round pick or fit. No, we're not. Not if you're talking about the quality guy who can come in and challenge Glasgow to start. We're probably going to have to give up a 3rd or a 4th-round pick. To get that guy, because you're gonna have to be assertive in it. You can't be like, oh, it's between us and them, or us and those two teams, so we'll just see who. No, you got to jump out and go get that dude. If you identify a dude that you see and that you think can come in and challenge Glasgow and Ratledge, you got to go get him now. Like, you can't let this bidding thing be between you and 4 other teams. Go get him. So yeah, my bad, y'all. I know I went on a little bit of a, but man, that's just how I feel, man. And that's just my honest feelings about the situation. And I just think that we're gonna have to go get somebody, and they're gonna have to have a 3-way camp battle between him, Glasgow, and Ratledge, and see who comes out on top. So that's what's we're gonna get a free agent. Like, don't be mistaken. Like, or we're gonna make a trade. Don't be mistaken. Like, oh, we're good. Oh, we're like, no, we would be good if we were the old Lions. The old Lions would have did that. The team that's right now in the front runners or one of the 2 front teams heading for a Super Bowl are not going to do that. You can believe it.
Coach Mike, I want to tell you hush up so many times. And it's just because
if you think we're gonna roll with a guard and make him a center,
I wholeheartedly agree with that. I wholeheartedly agree with that.
I'm gonna go last. Go ahead, LL. I'm gonna put you on there. Go ahead.
But I believe that's I'm gonna say this too. I believe that's the double truth, Ruth. I'm with you on that, right? But 2 things or a couple things that I just wanted to pick about was Graham Glasgow and LeBron James are 2 completely different animals. And that last one, I like your what's the word here? I don't know the word.
Analogy.
No, not analogy, but your charisma, your positivity, your optimism. And they gonna go get them. They gonna do this and they gonna do that. We ain't seen that yet. You told me that Myles Garrett was gonna be a lion. Yeah, because you got to go get him. You got to go do this.
Yeah,
you got to go do that.
Yeah, but this is different. This is completely different.
All I'll say is they've shown us what they gonna do, and that's why I'm with you. I'm with y'all on that. Like I kind of think maybe they didn't know, but I don't know. I can't really say that. Maybe they got faith in. And I'm not saying I do, but maybe they got faith in Graham Glasgow because we've seen it. We've needed an edge for how many years, and they do what they do as far as that. The only one that we can kind of say that with is cornerback. We knew we needed cornerbacks, and they went 1-2 right then and there. So, but everything else is like it's issues out there that we didn't say that they haven't addressed in the way that some of us want them to. So I don't really know if they knew or not, but who replaces them, I don't know. And I agree with you wholeheartedly on this part. If they did know, if they really knew, like, all right, he ain't coming back. I know it might have been a thought. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, we all here at least kind of thought that because we were picking guys that can play guard and center to replace them, or draft to replace them, in the future. But I think if they niggity knew, like I think they should have addressed it differently. But like you said, they drafted Tate Ratledge, who does not play center, and they drafted Miles Frazier, who does not play center. So I think that they should have probably tried to get somebody that can play center or that has played center, not two people that can also play center. But to answer the question, I think it's going to be Graham Glasgow, at least starting out. I think they may be trying to make Tate Ratledge the next center. Maybe not. I think that maybe it's just going to be Graham Glasgow until they prove that he can't do it. Because, of course, they see him way more than we do, as far as what he might be able to do at center. We saw him play at a couple different spots on the O-line, and a couple of them he didn't look so good. So maybe they understand some things about him playing center that we don't. But I don't know. I believe it'll be addressed in the near future. I don't know, like how you said, I don't know if they'll trade for a guy. Because, again, we've seen it. And I don't know. I take it back because we don't see it happen. We don't see them go get a Myles Garrett or this person or that person. But afterward, we always hear Brad Holmes called about it. So, maybe they're in the works on trying to get somebody, or maybe the plan is to try Graham Glasgow out there. I really don't know, but
I do think real quick though, LL, that getting Myles Garrett and replacing Frank Ragnow are two completely different things because we already had Aiden Hutchinson.
I'm more so right, but I'm just on the part of a need that right. that we all think that needs to be addressed in a certain way, and they don't necessarily do it the way that we all think that they should.
All right.
Okay.
What are you smirking for?
I'm going to tell you what I think. I think the Lions really kind of had an inkling, because if you look at the statement that Frank Ragnow said, he said that the Lions have been terrific about the situation, and the Lions have always been the type of this regime has always been, they want guys who can play multiple positions, right? They've always been that way. They want guys who can play both interior positions, center and guard. They want tackles that can play both left and right, or swing tackle or whatever. They want linebackers who can play wherever. They want guys who can play wherever on the field. It's going to be tough to replace a guy like Frank Ragnow. Absolutely, it doesn't matter who's on the field. It doesn't matter who's going to be coming in. The next guy who is going to be playing center and for the Detroit Lions is going to have a tough task. Going to have big shoes to fill. And the reason why I think that the Lions knew about it and why they drafted a guy like Ratledge to come and take over the center position, because they knew what they can get out of him, what they saw in tape in college. And from what I looked at, they knew they had Graham Glasgow in their back pocket. Graham Glasgow has played a full season at center for the Detroit Lions, not just taking over for Frank. He played a full season as a center for the Detroit Lions. When he came in and took over for Frank, not last year, well, one game last year, and then, of course, the few games that he took over in 2023, there was no drop-off. The Lions ran the ball. The Lions passed the ball. There was no drop-off, significant drop-off. I can't say there wasn't any drop-off, but there wasn't a significant drop-off from what we saw from Frank and what we saw from Graham. And the reason why I say it's going to be Graham, there's going to be Graham probably until Ratliff can kind of get into knowing the protections and the run blocking scheme. And the reason I don't think if they're going to bring in a veteran because of the system. You know, they can mold Ratliff from the beginning right here. Graham Glasgow knows the Detroit Lions offense, right? He knows all the protection calls from playing on the offensive line. He knows all the blocking schemes. He knows the position of center at the in Detroit because he's played next to Ragnow. So he knows everything. He knows the system. Who invented the system here that we play in Detroit? And people are gonna say, "Well, you lost Ben Johnson," but the guy who taught Ben Johnson the system is the OC. And then you have a guy like Hank Fraley that's going to be in there, right? So whoever takes over this or the center position for the Detroit Lions, Hank Fraley is going to have that unit ready. And no ifs, no ands, no buts. My outlook hasn't changed for the season. I'm not as a woe is me fan. I'm going to say the Lions, you can't just be a woe is me type of person and be like, oh, well, Frank's gone and now the season's just over and the Super Bowl window is closed. I'm not going to say that. I'm going to say that the Lions are going to strap it up. They're gonna make the adjustments and they're gonna move on because guess what? Dan Campbell's not a hang your head type of guy, right? He's not, and he's not gonna let his players be the hang their head type of team because they look at all the injuries they had last year. They could have hung their head last year with all the freaking injuries. They could have hung their heads last year when Aiden Hutchinson went out, the best defensive player probably in the league last year before he got injured. So to say that with Frank Ragnow retiring is just going to be just woe is me, and the Lions aren't going to make themselves ready for the season. I'm not, and don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it doesn't suck. I'm not saying there's going to be potential drop off. I'm not saying any of those things. What I'm saying is that the Lions coach this team as a complete team. They coach the guy who is a starter to the guy on the practice squad the same way, and you got to show up and you got to produce, or you ain't gonna be in Detroit. So you look at this situation, I think that they knew they had a potential to lose Frank Ragnow. That's why they drafted two guys who can probably come in because you know that Frazier played all of the offensive line positions in college. He played everything. He played both. He played the two interior positions and he played both tackles. So that's a guy who played everything. And one guy who I know I trust as a coach on the Detroit Lions is Hank Fraley. Mm-hmm. I've always said it. I've said that he was the one guy that the Lions kept from the Quinn Trisha position, that the Quinn Trisha regime that was key. I always like Frank Ragnow. His players love him. You look at the guys we're talking about; they were leaving if Hank Fraley was not going to be on the coaching staff this year. So I think that's just me. I'm on my rant, so let me call my rant. But that's just what I think. I think I trust Hank Fraley. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying it's not going to be any type of change or any type of drop off because you can't. Frank Ragnow is Frank Ragnow. I mean, he's one of the best to ever do it. But I believe in the coaching staff, and I believe that the Lions are going to do the best thing to put this in their situation. And I look back a couple years ago, 2023, and I just looked at how we played. We were 13-4 or 14-3, whatever it was, 13-4, and we didn't miss a beat. I don't think we lost the game with Graham Glasgow at center. I don't think we lost one. I don't think one of those games that we lost that year was with Graham Glasgow at center. I mean, we still ran the ball effectively with Gibbs and Montgomery, and there wasn't a big drop off. Pass protection was good. Goff did his thing. You know what I'm saying? So it is what it is.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. And we was 12-5 that year.
12-5, okay.
Yeah, but the thing is okay, even if Graham because he's gonna be the starter. Like, there's no question about that. But what happens when he gets hurt? If he gets hurt, I'm just saying, like, what happens with the injury?
Oh, you gotta bring up old shit.
Now, I'm just that's real.
No, I'll get what you're saying.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm not tripping.
Tate Ratledge, you ready? You know what I'm saying? Miles Frazier, you ready? Because
you got to get ready.
Because playing center, among other positions, is different from playing center in the NFL right goddamn now. Like,
it is.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so
I'll agree with you 100%.
That's the only reason why I think they're going to bring in somebody in. And maybe that person doesn't end up making the 53-man roster, because maybe Ratledge and Frazier are like blowing him out the water. But I'm saying they probably are going to bring somebody else in to just another camp body and see, hey, y'all slug it out and see who wins, because I don't think we're in a position to not do that.
Yeah. I say my thing is there's a guy out there in Arizona who's a backup center who we can go get. Just go trade for him.
Who you about to say?
Evan Brown.
Oh, yeah. Evan Brown was on the roster when Graham Glasgow was on the roster.
That's
absolutely.
I was waiting. Yeah. I was waiting my turn.
There was a guy who Forrester, the data collector for PFF. He slid in and he told me there was a guy for the Raiders. There's a center for the Raiders who could also be a possible target, like a trade candidate target, man. So shout out to Forrester, man. Data collector for PFF, man.
We don't mess with PFF around here, cuz.
We give them a little holler sometimes, but we take all that stuff with a grain of salt, because we like See all right, last topic. Hey man, like the video, share the video, comment on the video, man. All these things help us get this content to more Detroit Lions fans just like yourself. Definitely, man. Y'all know that the Boss Up Ball Out podcast is sponsored by Dubby Energy Drink, packed with brain boosting amino acids and vitamins with no sugar, for us diabetics. It gets you pumped up for tackling your daily tasks. Try that new s'mores flavor. Costs about $1 a drink. It's a great alternative to coffee or canned beverages, man, with no crashes, jitters, or anxiety. Check out the link in the description to buy Dubby and use the code BOSSOutBall10 at checkout to get 10% off. Power your day with Dubby. All right, so last thing today we're going to talk about is the salary cap implications, because it is what it is, man. Cost you, get a little money up, man. Because we get if he retires, we get a little money back. So the Lions will have to cover $8.4 million of guaranteed money left on Ragnow's contract. The remaining portion of the contract will be eliminated once Ragnow has officially retired. Now, one thing I will tell you that checking the last couple of days, he has not been officially put on the retired reserve list. So he's not. I'm not saying there's not likely he could come back. I'm just saying it hasn't happened yet. But when he does go on that list, man, the Lions will be on the hook for $8.4 million. Now, it specifies how much salary cap relief Lions will receive has not yet been determined, because there's a couple of options for Detroit and how they will do that. From a salary cap, June 2nd is that critical date. Y'all know that post June 1st cuts and other nature, and how they can save money and distribute players a guaranteed contract amounts over the 2 seasons instead of just one. So the first one, the first approach they can do is the traditional approach, man, because he's owed a $1.2 million guarantee sign-up bonus for 2025, an option bonus for $3.6 million for 2025, and a $3.6 million option bonus for 2026. That means if they just get rid of his contract for this season, they'll pay him $8.4 million out of the cap hit, but they will free up $5.6 million in 2020 for this year, 2025, and there's no cap hit next year. The Lions are free and clear of his contract. And this approach that allows for the conventional method and account for all outstanding guaranteed funds for the upcoming season, and it allows them to be off the books, off the hook for anything next season. Now, option number 2 is kind of the split method, where they pay him the 1.2 and the 3.6 for this year, which means he have a $4.8 million cap hit, and they free up $9.2 million this year. And then they have the 3.6 million option bonus guaranteed cap hit for next season, and that gives them a little more flexibility where they'll get a little bit more under the cap this year, about 4 million. So, and then deferring that 3.6 million to next season. So, for me, I think I would take option number 2, because that gives the Lions kind of more flexibility if they want to bring other people in that add some more money to their salary cap. And if they want to extend, I don't know, Alexander Zaloni, or, give him more guaranteed money on his books, or other guys they want to extend, they can go ahead and do that. It gives them the cap flexibility, or to add another free agent. So somebody who dating a Detroit, rapper, or maybe like the guy we said trade for Evan Brown and bring him back home to the Lions, man. But those are the salary cap implications. What do you guys think about? What option would you take? Would you take taking all of them off the books in 2025 and taking that $8.4 million cap hit, or would you kind of split it up and take about a 4.8 whatever this year, and then another 3.6 next year? So what do you guys think? I'll go to you first, LL. Which option would you take?
I would go with that second one, which I think you said is going to free up about 9.5 or something like that for this season, and just hit us for like 3-some next year. Yeah, I would like that one for those 2 reasons what you just said. Bring back a player like Lower Zed, or I meant to do that, but it's it's a lot of free agents left out there. I'm certain that there's people that have actually played center in the NFL out there that we might be able to bring in, like Coach Mike said, just bring in, see what they got, or to be a backup, because depth is always should be always a priority. But that's the option that I would like to go with.
All right, what you got, Coach Jones?
And so I found this. So shout out to Forster from data collector from PFF, man. Andre James is the name of the center that he said was a possible trade candidate. But I'm with LL. I will go with that second option, just because you're trying to free up as much money as you can to entice whoever you can possibly quality guy that you want to bring in, man. You're going to have enough money to kind of also entice that team to trade him. You know what I'm saying? To, if you picking up how much ever that contract. Because I just want the Lions people to realize that the Lions are going to take a loss if we trade. We're not gonna break even. People know what we need, and they're gonna try and tax a little bit to try and replace what we need. So so when people see the contract or the terms come out of the trade, I'm like, what that we in that position, dog. So but yeah, man, I'm with that second option though. Definitely. Split it up. A little this year, a little next year, and then that way it saves us money on this front end to go and do whatever we need to do.
Definitely. Hey, man, like the video, share the video, and comment on the video. All these things help us get this content more Detroit Lions fans just like yourself. It's been a pleasure to talk about this topic today, man. It was a big topic. We had a couple of days to kind of like take everything in and kind of get it what we need to talk about together, man. We didn't want to have any knee-jerk reactions just to Frank. We wanted to have a kind of like take it all in and really have a pointed discussion, and we had all the facts and everything like that. So, again, thanks, Frank. Thank you, Frank Ragnow, for your service, man. We appreciate you right here in Detroit, man. Go do the best thing that you can do for you and your family.
Broken throat, man.
Man, yeah. I always got respect for Frank Ragnow. Excuse me.
You don't need a throat to run block, but I get you.
But you gotta have a throat to call out protections as a center. Yeah. Can't hear you, man. Hey, man, if you haven't done this already, man, y'all play it. Make sure you follow the crew on your favorite social media platforms. Coach Jones does a great job of putting content over there, Wolverine Sport Talk, and putting content on this channel, shorts and everything like that. And check out his Beyond the Roast Boxing playlist, man. Check it out, man. Some great thing. I'll post content from this show from all of my social media platforms, and of course, it's Hump Day, baby, which means it's Thursday evening, and make sure you go check out Thursdays on LL's Instagram page. Y'all see it up there, man. Y'all see I can go get all the thirsty goodness over there on Thursday, man. Now it's time for party shots for today's show. All right, Coach Jones, what you got?
Man, so I know how Curt says the busiest man in Jack. It's the busiest man today, man. So I get out of work at 12:30, and I actually have a 1 o'clock interview. I got a 2 o'clock interview, and minicamp starts at 3. So, it is what it is, bro. I just do what I do. You know what I'm saying? I keep it moving. I keep it pushing. I don't really complain about nothing. You know what I'm saying? I just go get this money, dog. I'm a paper chaser. Guapa stoppers. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, man, minicamp starts today, man. I'm so excited. Man, this is the first. This is like the introductory to the football season. Like this is like football season has started today, and I got everything ready, man. I'm ready to go, and I feel like yeah, it's all positive vibes over here. So, this ain't no normal hump day for me. This is the real deal. This is actually we in the middle of the week, baby. It's Wednesday.
Yeah, man. All right, what you got, LL, on this Thursday Eve?
Coach Mike was about to do the D'Lo Brown intro. You're looking at the real deal now, but again, thank you. Happy Wednesday morning, y'all, and thank you to Frank Ragnow for what all that you've done for us. I meant to put this into my when we were talking about it about Evan Brown, but like you had said, he played center for us for a while. He played 16 games for us in 2021, 14 in 2022, and then he went on elsewhere. But that's why I have faith that they can coach somebody up, because of a player like Evan Brown, who had previously played 8 games before he started with us. In 3 years, he played 8 games. And then he kind of came here and actually he got opportunity, number one, with injury, but then he actually played well, just like Curt had mentioned. Didn't miss a beat, didn't miss a step. And I remember us all calling out Evan Brown's name. And I personally was a little upset when he left. Well, not upset, but, dang, we probably could have kept him type thing. But you understand, because he can start elsewhere. But I would love to see Evan Brown come back as long as he can still play football. And I'm guessing that he can, because he played in all 17 games last year, allegedly. And he played in 16 the year before that. So, maybe that's an option. But another option is if you get one of them breakfast burritos, put some of that hot sauce on that thing.
All right, man. Hey, thank you guys for starting your hump day, baby, with us right here on the Boss Up All Out podcast, your home for organic debate about Detroit Lions news and rumors, man. Hey, we know Wednesday can be tough, but make sure if you're having a good day, spread that joy to someone else. You never know when a small word can change someone's perspective on their day or maybe even their life. If you're not having a good day, don't steal no one else's joy. And whatever you're doing in life, you got to boss up, ball out, and be the best version of you that you can be. From my fellas, LL Cool Torrance and Coach Mike Jones, this is Curt Steele, and we will holler at you real soon.